Welcome to Fearless and Focused. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Casey.
And we're here to share bold stories, real talk,
and strategies to help you push past fear and level up.
Let's get fearless and focused.
If you're hiring like it is 2018, then you are far behind.
Yes, the hiring game has completely changed. Speed and clarity, it matters more now than ever before.
Yes. And if you're a small business owner trying to build a team that actually builds your business, not drains it,
then buckle up because this episode is going to give you all of the real talk, the tools, and the confidence to hire smarter in 2026.
I am so excited for this episode, Casey. Welcome to Fearless and Focus, everyone. We are kicking off a brand new 4-part series to level up your business in 2026.
Yes. And today we brought our notes so we can stay very focused and on track because this is such a relevant and a hot topic. So over the next few weeks, we'll be breaking down the 3 biggest levers for your business or your agency, which, agents are always talking about this: hiring, accountability, and marketing. Plus, we're bringing on guest experts, which we are super excited to talk about recruiting trends and remote talent.
Yes. And whether you're an insurance agent or a boutique owner or, running a small business of any sort, like all of these systems are universal. Like all business owners have these needs, right? Hiring, marketing, recruiting, all the things. So we're super excited. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're a business owner, you will get some really good tips out of these 4-part series that we have.
Yes. Good point. So today we are kicking it off with a topic that every business owner can relate to. Like Brooke mentioned, doesn't matter what industry you're in, this is universal for everyone. The topic of hiring. So let's talk about what hiring looks like in 2026, how we can move faster, and how to find people that actually want to grow with your business.
Exactly. Okay. So as I mentioned, like in the teaser, if you're still hiring like you were 5-6 years ago, like you're doing it wrong. Let me just go ahead and say, like, you are behind the bar, because today with technology and with just the culture and the shift of everything, speed is important, right? You cannot set on a resume for weeks like you used to collect the data and reach out to them whenever. Like, the landscape has definitely changed.
Yes, so important. And the best people that are out there, they're just on the market for a couple of days, not weeks. So you've really got to be dialed into, what you're actually looking for. You need to communicate that vision and then make decisions quickly and fast, because those A+ candidates are not going to be lasting long.
Right. Especially, they're not looking just for a paycheck either. Mm-hmm. They're looking for flexibility. So maybe that's remote, right? Purpose and culture. That is huge, huge, huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all of that too, we would love to start bringing in some tools and resources, because we know this is such a hot topic. So that's our whole goal with Fearless and Focus, is to bring you some tools and resources to help you when you're at that point. It's like, yes, I do want to grow and grow faster and stronger. So how do I do that, Brooke and Casey? So we're here to deliver all the things. So we're going to talk about sourcing. Everybody is usually using Indeed and ZipRecruiter, but most small business owners aren't leveraging their network, and referrals are still gold.
Yes. They truly are. One of my, for an example, one of my top producers, is from another top producer. So ask your team, if you have a team member that is like crushing it. A lot of people, birds of a feather flock together, right? So they may have friends or know of other people in that same caliber that they talk to, and maybe they're unhappy where they are. They're looking for another opportunity. So, I hired one of my best people from one of my agents at my office. But don't sleep on Facebook. Facebook groups are great. LinkedIn groups are great. There's a lot of private groups out there that you can join there are people out there, and you can just, post what you're looking for, be very intentional, exactly, looking for this type, a sales or service, looking for these type of values, core values, things like that. Here's what the pay is, DM me or send your resume here. I've gotten tons of applicants that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like thinking about your COIs or like your daily habits that you do each day. So one of my best team members, he started just by answering phones, but then I leveled him up until, he was a sales agent. But he was just the bank teller. So every day we'd go to make daily deposits for the agency. He was always the smiling one there. And we had a conversation one day, and one thing led to another. And I hired him very first for my first agency, and he lasted until I sold. So kind of think about too, those, those daily routines, who are you connecting with daily, and COIs. And there's usually always like at least some good relationships that you can tap into there also. So we are excited this week because we're actually going to be interviewing a recruiter. So if you've been curious about working with a recruiter, this is our little teaser to make sure that you stay tuned for part 2 when we drop this, which we'll have details out, because it's all going to be about plugging into this recruiter and her mindset and who she looks for and why, and then taking you through that whole process.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait. That's been a big thing for me because, talked about, you want to hire fast. You want to hire fast, but not in a hurry. Okay. So there's a difference in the two. You want to hire smart. And I don't have a ton of time to sit and go through, right? So depending on where you are in your journey of, entrepreneurship, whether you have the time to commit to that or not, I would rather pay and buy back some of my time to have a recruiter do that for me. But there are a lot of really good ways that you can use and be fast in today's market of having new people come on board through Indeed and setting expectations and personality assessments that will help you, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's kind of talk about like the difference between hiring fast and hiring in a hurry, because they aren't the same thing. So hiring fast means that you've already defined out what success looks like for that role. So when you have the right person that shows up, you're ready to act. So it's like a huge difference between, just putting a bunch of people in front of you. But if you don't have that role defined and exactly what you're looking for, it's really going to be hard for them to connect with you and you to connect with them.
Right. And you can use those personality assessments. There's several out there. Ideal Traits has one that's going to really help you too. It's like a personality test of like 15 questions, and you can get a lot of good feedback from those type of things that can help you hire, smarter and quicker. The people that don't do it, right? So if you apply to my business and I have a personality trait out there and you don't do one part of it, or if I email you and say, send me, here's 3 questions I like to ask everyone, why do you want this position? Why do you like, for my business, it's insurance, and tell me a fun fact about you. What could you bring? What's your biggest asset you could bring to my team? If they don't do any part of that, like, I'm not going to hire them, right? That's part of it too. Like, I can get through that resume pretty quick because they didn't do the things that I asked them to do. It's simple instruction. And then getting feedback for if they do complete those, well, how well did they complete them? Mm-hmm. You're right. Can they string 2 sentences along, right? Or can they communicate effectively? Those things are important, and you want to know those right out the gate. The worst thing was to hire someone you think that's got a great personality, and you find out like they can't follow simple instruction, or their grammar, and like they've got to compose emails and communicate with customers all the time, and then they are terrible at it. Like you're like, oh my gosh, So these things can help you be more efficient as well, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of just starts help, you can start interviewing before the interview even actually happens by, like Brooke was saying, some of these behaviors that you're tracking along the process of what you're asking them to do, how they're responding, if they're responding, is it completed, all of that kind of stuff. So, and then I think a big takeaway too is that don't get stuck in interview paralysis. So you can't lead and grow with empty seats. So the main thing is sometimes you got to hire them quickly, fire them quickly if they don't work. And you've just got to get into that mode of just filling your seats and getting people inside your agency or your business so you can kind of get to know them and see if they're going to be a good fit. Sometimes that's just part of the process and what you have to do.
Yes, 100%. So speaking on like expectations and culture, I think that is big, right? Because you can teach systems, but you can't teach drive. You can't teach positivity. You can't teach integrity. You want to, tell your people exactly what you're looking for, and hear what they have to say and let them know, like, when these expectations that we give you or these core values that you're saying that you have, when they're not met, like what happens next. That's the biggest part, is having that, especially early onboarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to flip back to my paper because I really like this. This statement that's in here is hiring for attitude and training for skill. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is like if someone is not showing up on time, if they're coming back from lunch late, if they're not a self motivator, all of those types of things, like it's going to be hard for you to train for that. If they've already got that, then you can train them for the skill on how to do the job and how to work the systems. And you can do that all day, every day. But those pieces, those personality traits are okay. Are they finished with the task and then motivated to get, look into something else, or who needs help in the agency or different things like that? Those are things that I think are very, very hard to train. Especially, adults, like you are kind of like set in your ways with your personality traits. And so I love that statement that you train for skill, hire for the attitude, and what kind of traits are they already showing you?
Right. And when you have an expectation, you have to have a consequence behind it. Right. So in the first, for me, I have a 90-day ramp up. Right. You have to prove these things over 90 days. And like, where you stand. We're having check-ins almost weekly. And then we'll have a 30, 60, 90, like big check-in. But if you're not doing those things, or they're showing you little things and you're getting red flags, like listen to your gut. That is they're brand new to your agency. If they are, or your business, if they are already showing you signs of, they're not taking the next step, they're not motivated, you're having to kind of push them along, they're showing up late, you're dropping them all, they're not on their best at the very beginning of their employment with you, what are they going to look like a year or 2 years down the road? Can you imagine? So you want to have that expectation and have that consequence. So for me, that first 90 days is huge. I'm setting that. And if they aren't doing the things that need to be done, they're not there in 90 days. And sometimes it's a lot quicker than 90 days, because hiring fast and firing fast is a big part of it as well. You don't want to keep someone, to build your business if they're not helping you build your business. Right. So super important when it comes to the expectations. And so kind of a recap: clarity, culture, moving fast. Don't overthink it. Start taking action, but make sure if you're going to have your expectations, you have consequences in that as well.
Yeah. And I think that culture that you set in your agency, that all starts with leadership. So you are the leader, you are the owner of your agency. That is your responsibility to set the tone, the pace, the expectations. Tell them what not only what you expect of them, but also what they can expect from you. Like, this is what I've invested in for tools and resources to help you grow. I want you to grow and be the best that you can be. And so this is my part. So I think that all starts with a really good, strong leadership and definition of that as a leader, of putting that out there. And that's how you start like that path of success for yourself and for them also.
Oh, yes. So that I wanted to make sure that, I'm so glad you brought that up, because as far as like a leadership, it is a two-way street. I'm asking all of these things from you, but here's what I'm going to give you in return, right? So I did want to share my core values at my business, because I think it's important. If you don't have core values, and I hire off the core values and I fire off the core values, because if you're not meeting these, then how are you helping my team? Right. So here they are. Number one is attitude and effort, because that is 100% in like your ability to do that. Right. So attitude and effort. I can't train you on either one of those things. You either have it or you don't. You have the positive attitude and you have the will and the drive and the determination to put some effort into it. 2, accountability. You've got to be self-accountable, right? Self-accountable. 3, integrity. I can't teach you to do the right thing. You either do the right thing because it is in you and it's innate, or not. Coachability. Coachability, you have to be willing to grow, like to fight through the uncomfortable, to accept constructive criticism, trying to be better than yesterday. I don't expect perfection, and no one really should, because no one is perfect, but progress over perfection is kind of my motto there. Being a team player, right? You got to be a team player. Like, yes, you're one individual, you have your job, you have your responsibilities, but like being a team player is huge, because we are all in it together as a business and as a team. And then the last one is being autonomous and resilience. So you've got to have that autonomy. Like, you got to be self-driven. You got to be resilient. It takes grit to be in business, to be told no, especially in sales. So those are my 6 core values. And I just wanted to share those because that's what I look for when I'm hiring, and when I'm thinking like, is this person working out? I'm going back to my core values. And then I'm like, and then I put those back on me as the leader. Am I doing these things? Am I doing the things that I need to be doing? Am I giving them every tool, every resource that you talked about, right? To make sure that they're successful. So that's two-way street. So those are the things that have helped me in my hiring and my best practices. So hope that helps some of our listeners. And I'm excited about next week.
Yes, next week. And by the way, I'm so glad that you brought your core values up, because that's part of prepping. And I think that sets the tone. Like, if you've got, your core values there that you're talking about and you're referencing, and your vision statement for the agency and your culture, it's like that almost makes them step up their game and sets the tone for like, wow, I'm coming into this very well established, well-running machine. I know what I'm getting into. So I love that you brought that up. But yeah, next week, are we going to drop who we're interviewing and the name, or are we just doing a teaser of like what we're doing? Let's drop the name so we can collaborate. Okay. Yeah. Go for it.
Oh, well, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. So it's Jenny from Insurance Teamwork Services. And I do not know how to pronounce it. I know it starts with a G, but I don't want to butcher it. But Jenny is amazing. She's a recruiter with Insurance Teamwork Services. I use them personally, and we'll get more into that next week. But it's really, she helps people, like I said, buy back your time when it comes to hiring and recruiting. It can be very analysis paralysis, a lot of things to go through. And then you just end up, you're tired, and you end up hiring someone based off, you need someone in the seat and you're tired of interviewing. They take that all away. They vet people for you. They do a lot. I'm not even going to spoil any more things, but it's going to be great. And if you're interested in remote, they really specialize in remote team. And I think that that's huge, especially for 2025 going into 2026. Like, if you haven't opened your eyes to remote yet, you should, because your talent pool just quadrupled or bigger. I don't know what's bigger than quadrupled. But you can get a much larger pool of candidates. And so she's going to talk about best practices there and what they do. And I'm excited to hear from Jenny next week.
Yes. And she has it dialed in. You can tell this is her passion. She knows what she's doing. I've interviewed her before for some social media clips, and she knows exactly the traits she's looking for. She wants to pick out those A-team players. And that's the biggest thing, when I was interviewing her, that was kind of the biggest thing she was talking about, is like, she gets all of these amazing people in front of these agents, but they don't have a plan to act quickly and act fast. And that's a big thing, a big disconnection that can, somebody else is going to snatch up that candidate. So we'll be diving into all of that with her. And yeah, she is an amazing person to be able to help you grow and get ready for 2026.
Yes. Okay. So if you haven't already subscribed, do so, and leave us a note. You have questions, or you want to dip your foot into like having a recruiter. Like, what would you want to know? Like, we'll ask. If you want to know about remote, like best practices there, send us a note on what you want to hear, and we will make sure to get your questions asked. So until then, you guys stay fearless, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Fearless and Focused. Remember, success is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, staying bold, and taking action.
If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little inspiration.
Keep chasing your dreams, staying fearless, and keeping your focus strong.
Until the next time, stay
Fearless and focused.